Do you know that backbiting can destroy your good deeds faster than fire burns dry wood? Hazrat Ali said, backbiting is the attempt of one who is incapable of doing better himself. Imagine, every time you gossip, your good deeds are transferred to the one you spoke against. Subhanallah, that's like working hard all day and then handing your salary to someone else. Hazrat Ali said, backbiting is the weapon of the weak, must watch. The village of Qasbah was known for its beauty. It was surrounded by green fields, tall date palms, and a river that flowed like a silver ribbon under the sunlight. Yet, inside this small community, there was something darker than the shadows of the night: backbiting. People would gather in corners at the tea shops, under the shade of trees, and whisper about one another's faults. Their tongues had become sharper than swords, tearing reputations apart in silence. Among the villagers lived a young man named Harith. He was intelligent, hardworking, and had dreams bigger than the boundaries of Qasbah. He wanted to be a teacher, to spread knowledge and light, to lift his people out of ignorance. But his ambition made him a target. The people who couldn't achieve what he was striving for found it easier to tear him down rather than build themselves up. Harith thinks he's better than us, whispered one farmer. He acts pious, but wait till you see his true face, muttered another. Don't trust him. He's just after fame, said a woman to her neighbor. Day by day, the whispers grew. Harith would walk through the streets and feel the weight of eyes staring at him, judging him, condemning him without trial. He hadn't wronged them, yet he became the victim of their tongues. At first, Harith ignored it. He thought, let them speak. Words cannot harm me if I know my intention is pure. But slowly, those words poisoned even his closest friends. Some began to avoid him. Others looked at him with suspicion. Opportunities slipped from his hands, and his reputation, which he had built with honesty, started to crumble. One night, Harith sat under the old fig tree near the mosque, tears filling his eyes. Ya Allah, he whispered, why do they hate me? I only wanted to do good. Why do their tongues destroy me while I stay silent? That night, he dreamt of Hazrat Ali, the Lion of Allah, stood radiant, his face glowing with wisdom and strength. Harith fell to his knees. Hazrat Ali, looked at him and said, do not let the dogs of the tongue scare you from the path of truth. Backbiting is the attempt of one who is incapable of doing better himself. If they talk about you, it is because they cannot reach where you aim to go. Do not waste your time fighting their shadows. Rise, and let your actions speak louder than their whispers. Harith awoke with his heart pounding. It was not just a dream, it was a message. The next morning, he stood in the mosque after far prayer. The people were gathered, as usual, and many of the same men who had whispered against him were there. With courage burning in his chest, Harith spoke. My brothers and sisters, you know me. You know my family. You know that I have never cheated you, never stolen from you, never lied to you. Yet, my ears are filled with what my tongue has never uttered. You backbite me. You accuse me. You spread what you do not know. But know this, on the day of judgment, these words will not disappear. They will rise as mountains of fire against those who spoke them. The masjid grew silent. Eyes turned down. Harith continued, do you not know what our beloved Prophet Muhammad said? He said that backbiting is worse than fornication. For if one commits fornication and repents, Allah may forgive him. But backbiting requires that you seek forgiveness from the one you wronged. And if he does not forgive you, your good deeds will be given to him until justice is served. So when you backbite me, you are not harming me. You are gifting me your hasanat. The word struck like thunder. The imam of the mosque nodded in agreement. That day, Harith decided he would not be defined by their whispers. He opened a small madrasa under the fig tree, where children could come and learn Quran and knowledge. At first, only a few joined. People were still suspicious, still poisoned by the gossip. But slowly, as weeks turned into months, the fruits of Harith's patience blossomed. Children learned to read, young men learned to write, women came to study Quran. Meanwhile, those who had backbitten him began to see the reality. Their envy turned into regret. They realized that while they wasted their breath in gossip, Harith had built something eternal. One day, one of his fiercest critics, an old farmer named Ziad, came to him with tears. "Forgive me, Harith. I spoke against you. I said things that were not true. My tongue was my enemy. Forgive me, or else my deeds will not save me on the day of judgment." Harith looked at him with gentleness. "I forgive you, Ziad, for the messenger of Allah taught us that forgiveness is better than revenge. But promise me this, guard your tongue. For every word you utter is written, and once released, it cannot return." Ziad wept, kissed Harith's hand, and left with a heart lighter than he had known in years. The story of Harith spread beyond Qasbah. Travelers carried it to neighboring towns. People spoke not of the gossip, but of how he endured it with patience, how he transformed his pain into power. The very ones who tried to bury him with their tongues had unknowingly watered the seeds of his greatness. Years passed, and the madrasa under the fig tree grew into a center of learning. Harith became known as a scholar, respected and loved. Those who once mocked him now sat at his feet, drinking from the ocean of knowledge he poured out. But Harith never forgot the words of Hazrat Ali, 8.s. He would remind his students again and again, "My children, beware of your tongue. A wound made by a sword may heal, but a wound made by a word may never fade." Backbiting is the tool of the weak. If you see a man speaking ill of another, know that he has confessed his own incapacity. Do better. Build yourself. Rise so high that they cannot touch you, except with admiration. The lesson became engraved in the hearts of all who listened. The people of Qasbah changed. The tea shops, once buzzing with gossip, now echoed with Quran and stories of the righteous. The corners where people whispered became corners of dhikr. The village was transformed, not by force, not by wealth, but by one man's patience against the storm of backbiting. And so, Harith's name lived on, not as a victim of gossip, but as a conqueror of it. His story became a living tafsir of Hazrat Ali's wisdom. Backbiting is the attempt of one who is incapable of doing better himself. If this reminder touched your heart, don't stop here. Subscribe to Deen in Minute for more stories that awaken your soul and protect your akira. One story can change a life, maybe yours.